Digits BB, welcome back everyone to Digits BB. We are continuing the Night in the Woods playthrough tonight. We'll be starting from the last day of part 3. And really there's only a couple little things we need to do for the journal on this last day of part 3. And then part 4 there's really nothing going on at all in terms of the journal sketches. We really just need to walk and button mash through part 4 as quickly as possible so that we can get to the epilogue for some of the final journal sketches that we've been working toward. So let me need to pull up my guide here. I just came across another guide on Steam for all of the achievements. It looks like it would actually be really helpful, and it explains a trick that you can do to copy your save data so that you can preserve save data from a previous playthrough, which I'll probably look into doing with the playthroughs I have to do after this one is over, because they'll probably save me a lot of time if I know how to copy my save data and then put it back into the right directory. Alright, so day 4 of part 3. First thing we need to do is talk to Lori in her usual spot on the roof. Oh, and Aunt Mall Cop is here. Alright, well we don't need to do this for the journal, but I assume Summers has another poem for us, so we're gonna listen. The stars, like lights on cars, drive across the dark and never park. I got one ready for longest night. Longest night, night so dark, but stars so bright. Alright, and I guess that would be... Is that the last Summers poem in the entire game, or does she have another one in the epilogue? I don't remember. I guess we'll find out later. As I said, a lot of stuff comes together at the very end of the game in the epilogue, like all these little actions we've been doing, like talking to the same characters every day, making sure to be in certain places, don't really have immediate gratification. They don't get you a new journal sketch immediately, but you have to talk to the same people over and over again throughout the story to make sure you get the sketch at the very end of the game. Also, hello cute Tangerine, welcome. We're playing Night in the Woods. I imagine if you came across my channel, you're probably a fan of this game, and what I'm doing today is I'm not really focusing on actually reading the story or doing a normal playthrough. I'm just breezing through the game as quickly as I can to work on getting the Seriously achievement that you get for getting all the journal sketches in the game at one point or another. So I've put quite a lot of hours into this game, but for some reason I still haven't unlocked that achievement yet, so recently I started this series where I'm just playing through the game as quick as possible, following a guide to a T, and seeing if we can finally get this achievement after over 100 hours of playing this game on Steam. Let's see. Next, go find the musicians. Yeah, so the way the achievement works is that of course you can't get all of the sketches in one playthrough, because, you know, in a certain playthrough you can only hang out with B or with Greg or with Angus at certain parts. But the game has, somehow if the game works, it keeps track of at least having unlocked a sketch once at some point in your history of playing through the game. Also, I'm going the wrong way. So if across multiple playthroughs you've managed to get every single sketch at least once, then you get that achievement. And that's what I'm going for. So this is the first playthrough I've done as part of this achievement hunt. And I've been focusing on only hanging out with B in this one. Yeah, it's a Steam achievement. And then there's... In the second playthrough, it's mostly focused on just completing Greg's storyline. And then you kind of need to start a third and fourth playthrough just for getting these little details of Greg's story. Because in the first time you hang out with Greg, there's the robot head that you steal from the food donkey. And each of those robot heads actually gives you a different sketch in your journal, so you basically have to play through that story mission 3 times in order to get each of those sketches. But yeah, these Steam achievements are a lot of work. The first time I ever played this game, it was actually on Nintendo Switch. And given that you don't have achievements on that console, like, wouldn't be quite as much work to feel like you've 100% completed the game. Alright, so we did that, got that sketch. Next is to do Germ's last side quest. Yeah, I've played through this game quite a few times. In years past, like mostly in 2020, and also going into 2021, I did several playthroughs of this game on the channel. A couple of them were for the sake of like showing off all the story content with my friends, and then I did a playthrough of the game in Japanese, because the only other language this game has been translated into is Japanese, and I can read and speak Japanese fluently enough, so I basically played through the game again with my friends, and I was reading the text aloud in Japanese and translating it on the spot, just to like show my friends how the game was localized into that language. They were really faithful and really accurate in translating this game into Japanese, just in terms of getting like the characters' personalities across and getting some of the more difficult parts of the game down in terms of translating, like getting Summers' poems into a different language is quite a challenge, and they did a really good job with it. To either be friendly or just at a loss for words. Yeah, that's right. This scene is strange. It's been a while since I've seen this cutscene. And I believe it's a cutscene that wasn't even added to the game until the Weird Autumn update. So when the game first came out, this wasn't here, but they added it in along with the rest of the Germ and Lori storylines. Mark my words, you're doomed. Here, let's give this a triumphant leap onto the trampoline. Judging from these family members, you can really see where Germ gets his oddball personality from. Is there more to this? Oh, alright, there it is. I think there are some people in the Night in the Woods fandom who, like, ship Germ and May, which is interesting. Alright, so that is the end of Germ's storyline. Germ's spooky grandma. Germ's got a whole family. Delicious. Germ, a good guy. Yatsuda not. Alright, and then... last thing to do today is just go to the Historical Society with Greg. Which will also wrap up part 3 of the game. It looks like, based on what the guide is saying here, we're probably going to get this sketch from this mission, no matter what we do, like it's automatic. Maybe, or maybe I had to investigate a specific thing. It said look for a art with a goat, so I guess I had to keep watch for that. Alright, thanks for joining, Tangerine. It's nice to have new people check out the streams. Especially Night in the Woods fans. Oh, whoops, I need to start the mission. There we go. Let's do it. This is a really nice view. I remember being super confused about this whole talking with a lisp thing when I played... the first time I ever played this game, it was in Japanese. So they go for that same kind of, like, idea of talking with a lisp, or pronouncing words in a certain way, and it took me a moment to, like, figure out what May was even talking about. Crime, dude. Alright, be ready for a bit of a jump scare, everybody. There it is. Alright, so this mission is just kind of a lot of walking around and investigating things. Not too much going on, if you're just racing through it without reading the dialogue. What's the assumption that I'm going to stab someone? Hello, Grace. Welcome. Grace, we got a new viewer today who's a fan of Night in the Woods, but they had to leave stream for now, but another friendly face. Also, Grace, I know that you're participating in the game show this weekend, so that's exciting. Nick's hit me up like multiple times today being like, hey Kyle, can you help me with the game show thing? I need to look over things for the game show thing. And so I did help him. Spooked. Yeah, I understand the busyness. That's a thing. Going up or down? I guess we can go up first. Oh wait, we're supposed to go down first, right? Because we had to get like a paper clip from the office. Yeah, when it comes to like packing and getting rid of stuff, you know what's the most frustrating thing ever is that second street that's being built in our town is not opening until August. That would be so incredibly convenient for us if that second street, like right between where both of us live, would open up like within our last couple weeks of being here. But unfortunately the nearest thrift shop from that chain is located in the nearest major city, which is a lot more out of our way. Wait, did we actually have to go upstairs and discover that we need a paperclip first before we come back down here? And that's really obnoxious. Can't sequence break, dude. Yeah, I could at least point out to your successor that Second Street is a thrift store that they can use for getting rid of things very easily. Because they take quite a wide variety of things, like furniture, dishes, toys, electronics. Alright, so I tried to be smart and do this efficiently, but as it turns out, you have to go upstairs first, discover the need for a paperclip, and then go back downstairs and find the paperclip. And yeah, I think when it comes to like apartment things, we would do well to set the example for our successors and tell them that we're going to be throwing away and getting rid of a lot of stuff, and they should do the same for the people that come after them. And not uphold this legacy of successors literally just filling boxes of garbage in the closet. And my predecessors had done the same thing at school, too. There were, like, school staff pictures from, like, 10 years ago in my desk before I started cleaning that desk out. Alright, we also need pliers for the elevator, right, which should be in this room. Lurk to eat now. Alright, thank you for joining, Grace. Hope you enjoy your late dinner. Happy nighting. Crimes on crimes, crimes. Hanzai Banzai. I like trains. Is this statue the thing we were supposed to check for the sketch? Is that what it is? There's some sort of art featuring a... I think it was a goat that we're supposed to look for. Crimes, crimes. I guess that was not the thing I needed to check. It's probably one of the, like, the attic or wherever we're going next. Alright, we've escaped to safety, relative safety. think the art we're looking for is over here. Yeah, this is it, right? Right? Yeah, bad art. I think that was the name of the sketch we need to get here. Looks like we still haven't gotten the sketch yet. Oh, at the end of the case, May will draw it. Okay, so once we've made our escape here. Uh-oh, spooked. Horror game. Crimes, crimes. Looks like we're probably not going to be able to access our journal for a bit. But I can only presume that we got the thing we needed from part 3, so... From here on out, it's basically just mashing through cutscenes for quite a while. I guess we'll see how long that takes. Alright, there it is. Bad art. Great rules, okay? Oh, here's this cult member, played by James in the original playthrough. Alright, does it actually matter what I do here? If I just don't jump at all and just let this play out? I guess, yeah, they will catch you eventually. You don't really have to do anything there. Alright, then on to part 4, where we're just, like I said, just kind of breezing through it. There's literally no journal sketches at all in the entirety of part 4. It's just cutscenes and plot. Oh, I'm in control, I didn't realize. Oh, in control of B, because we've been doing mostly B's story here. This is a bad situation. Yep. Those wide eyes of panic that everyone has. I guess since we've pursued like every single French request in this game, this cutscene becomes a lot longer because there are more people here. I think in my first ever playthrough in this game, the only person here I really befriended was Selmers, so this room was a lot emptier. But if you do everything with Chazikov and Lori and... Well, I guess we really only introduced ourselves to Pastor K once. But she's still... Oh, well, because we're in her church, I guess that makes sense. But we really didn't do anything with Pastor K beyond the first time we had to talk to her for that first sketch. Beyond that, her side quest isn't really necessary to the journal achievement. Alright, I need to get water real quick, so I think I'm just going to let this little video game background music play out here while I step away for a moment, so I'll be right back. Alright, I have returned and the story continues. Or the skipping of the story continues. more pizza. Here, can I be crusty? Oh, I can't eat crust? Alright. Well, I just had to take a slice and I'm not going to finish, right? I can't be crusty in this part of the game. Oh man, I could have taken the crust there and I missed it. I didn't realize the crust should appear. Maybe I have one more chance. Come on, one more chance. Ah, no, I missed the crust. Alright, making our way along. This is one of the more serious moments in the game and one of the biggest parts of character development, which... And the direction of the dialogue can change a little bit depending on whether you have Greg or B here. I think we're going to have to do an entire full playthrough on the second time around because... mostly because we need Greg in the very last journal sketch at the end of the game, and we also need to do Angus's storyline in part 3, so... I guess we'll get to see this cutscene and skim through it again with Greg on the next playthrough. Playthrough 2 will be a lot quicker because there's only like maybe 10 sketches we need to get through the entire thing. I guess this isn't going to be the most interesting highlight to look back on later. There's not really much to talk about, honestly, while just playing through this on my own. It's like I was saying earlier, it's more engaging to play through this Night in the Woods speedrun when you have people on chat to just go back and forth with during longer cutscene stretches like this, but I guess people aren't available tonight, and that's alright. I'll just be playing along mostly quietly, but I think if we just breeze through this and master everything, we can probably finish the first playthrough tonight, depending on timing, I guess. I don't want to stay up too late tonight because I do have to go to work tomorrow for the first time this week, so I don't want to lose sleep to my own detriment. That's right, you get the mandatory pentagram here, don't you? Wait, is that a thing I got automatically, or let me see here? Third pentagram impossible to miss, okay. We're good on that. Alright, we're getting there slowly but surely. Brings me back to the first time I ever played this game on Switch, where my whole experience of playing like the end of Part 3 and like all of Part 4 and the epilogue and such was playing through the game in Japanese on Switch just after I arrived in the US in 2019, where it's like I got up in the middle of the night at like 3:30 or something after having like passed out from like jet lag exhaustion, and then just at that point I couldn't sleep again, so I just pulled out my Switch and just played Night in the Woods for like the rest of the night. And was very tired and very confused as to what was going on in the story. Alright, we are in control. We can move again. Alright, wait for it, and... Spooked. Horror game. Unbelievable. How could this happen? That is an interesting thing to see Justin post out of context. Should probably charge my phone. The battery's low, and I have a cable plugged into the USB right now, so let's do it. Play Night in the Woods, charge my phone. Disregard the Windows desktop noises. Alright, here we go. This is like the final stretch. Demonstrate platforming skills to beat the game. This is the final boss in Night in the Woods right here. Like dolphins. Filled with dolphins. Angus is standing in the way of this one right here. You can't really see it very easily. Alright, platforming. Inspirational music. It's a Character arc montage. I guess, you know, if some people have said there should be a sequel to this game, I think this would be something to consider in the plot of a sequel, is that this group is responsible for the deaths of like a dozen people, many of whom are probably parents or active people in the community. Alright, so we're basically through the big bulk of this. There's like a message that May writes here that I think becomes more elaborate if you've done more stuff throughout the game, like more friendships with more characters. So yeah, we will be able to beat the game during tonight's stream. We just need to get through this cutscene. Then the epilogue will have control again. I just need to talk to a couple people, and then first playthrough will be over. I'm still at a complete loss as to, like, with everything that I've done in this game, if there's actually a journal entry that I'm missing, because I feel like I've done everything across the many playthroughs I've done at this game, but who knows? It seems like there might be some people in the comments of the guide who complain that they did everything and they still haven't gotten the achievement, so maybe it's just a glitchy and unreliable achievement, who knows? And welcome, Vlad. We're actually about to beat the first playthrough of this game. Nobody's been in chat for quite a while, so I've just kind of rambled a bit here and there, but for the most part just quietly button mashed through the ending of the game. Grace was here for a bit, but she has been busy and needed to eat, so. Alright, so all these sketches that we got the third pentagram. Do I have that? Is the third pentagram on the drawing of the teens? Yeah, there it is. And then poorly drawn cat, I presume, is the shapes. Maze surrounded by darkness, got that. Alright, then we need to go find Mr. Chazikov. Been here potatoing, eating. Couch potatoing. Everybody's here, but they're too busy being a potato to interact with stream. I'm just sitting here basically being a potato too, so. Alright, we were told to talk, but do we even need to talk to Mom? It seems kind of rude to just run out on her, but. No, we just need to talk to Chazikov and the janitor. And then go, oh, well, except the door is barricaded until we've spoken to Mom, so never mind. Alright, now we can head out. Wait, are we supposed to... Are we really not supposed to talk to anybody else? Not even, like, Dad? It's really just Chazikov and the janitor and that's it? Like, we did all that work for the tooth percent, but I guess all that was just for the sake of finding the tooth. You don't have to do anything else for the journal at that point. So we really can just skip, like, all of these people. I don't suppose Selmers has a poem. She doesn't have a poem today. Oh well. Her last poem was the one about Longest Night. Chazikov, however, will be here, and we'll have stuff to talk about. May never learns with that filter, does she? Alright, and that is all the constellations of Night in the Woods. Alright, there's the last constellation. Then we go find the janitor by the statue in town center. There he is right there. Alright, there's that sketch, and then that's it. Just need to go beat the game. A big follows bot, man. Mountviewers.com. That's a website I haven't heard of before. I think people are talking about like stream.movie or something like that. Mountviewers.com. But still want to become famous by followers. It's everything else about the message is the same. It's just that it's not bigfollows.com anymore. Anyway, I guess I'll take care of that if the mod is a potato. Oh, never mind. My mod's not a potato. Thank you, Grace. Mount viewers. Buazu-san. Alright, tacos. Taco Buck. And they deliver. Yeah, we only like big follows. If it was a big follows bot, we could just leave it. We wouldn't even have to ban it or anything, but mount follows, or mount viewers, what a ridiculous name. Alright, so after this little conversation here, should be it. You know, come to think of it, I don't think we've ever seen the conversation with Angus about beating Demon Tower in English before. Because the only other time I've beaten Demon Tower in a playthrough is when we were doing the Japanese playthrough, so I can be on the lookout for that moment. Because in this last cutscene, a lot of the stuff they talk about is based on what you've done throughout the playthrough. So if you've maxed out certain, like, friendship side quests, or found certain things around town, or done things like beat Demon Tower, then this cutscene will be a bit different. And by a bit different, I mean a bit longer. People will talk for more. A death cult of dads. Talking about hanging out with Germ as well, because we did that. And Lori comes in there too. Dude, May and B, you guys, you're talking a lot. Please just get to the credits already. The log of everything we've ever done throughout the entire game. It's everywhere, BBQ. Alright, the others have arrived. Oh, no showering. That's just a joke I put in the title based on a conversation Nick and I had like a couple weeks ago or something. It just randomly came up. Nick was like talking about speedrunning or something like that, or the kinds of streams that people do, and he's like, oh, he just says something ridiculous like Final Destination, Fox Falco, no items, no showering. And I was like, what? Is no showering an actual like category people do in their streams nowadays? And he was like, I was kind of kidding or something like that. Or he said maybe not really, but I was like, that's just a pretty funny thing to just tack onto the end of a stream title. I think Nick said it was like a 24-hour stream type thing that people do. I mean, I guess if you're streaming for 24 hours, you don't necessarily have time to take a shower, but It would be pretty essential at this time of year in Japan because, good lord, dude, like, every time I'm out and about nowadays, it's just, you get drenched in sweat within minutes. It's awful. Oh, well, what a great thing to say right going into the game's credits. Just talking about getting sweaty, staying sweaty, and then the credits roll. Get sweaty, stay sweaty, no showering. That can be, I can tack that onto an upcoming stream title. Alright, so that is Nine in the Woods. For people like perhaps Vlad and others who have not seen this game in full before, it's kind of awkward to just rush through all this, but yeah, that was playthrough 1 of, well, we're kind of going to start 4 playthroughs of the game, but really we only need to finish a second playthrough. And then for 3 and 4, all we need to do is do certain parts of the first Greg hangout in part 1 pretty early on in the game. And I was just looking at something in a Steam guide earlier that teaches you how to make a copy of your save data that you can sort of exploit to make it a little bit quicker. So I can use that when it comes to getting the first animatronic, or well, I guess the second animatronic, and then grabbing the third. It looks like really all you need to do is find the files that correspond with the game's save data and then just copy paste them to some other directory in your computer. And then when you're ready to reset the save data back to that point, just delete those save data files in the actual game folders and then copy paste the data that you copied elsewhere, and that will allow you to load your save from that spot in part 1. Yeah, it's part 4 is a pretty confusing part of the game that didn't really register with me what was going on until playing the game at least a second time through, but there's a cutscene, kind of like what I did last night with reading out the whole college party cutscene with B. There's a scene with Greg that's equally touching that I want to read out all the way through for people who haven't seen it before. Or for people like Grace who have seen it before. They can relive the wholesome moments. Also, look at Sharkle at the end. I agree, it's a really great game. Alright, so this is the last journal entry we need to get, right here at the very end. This one on the left has B here. If you hung out with Greg more and completed Greg's story, then it'll be Greg in this image. So you do need to play all the way through again to get that last image. And then Rip Casey is the ending of it all. So yeah, if we skim all the way back through the journal. Obviously I don't have like everything in here because there's a lot I didn't do on this playthrough. Like I didn't beat Demon Tower again because I didn't need to. But the journal starts on Rip Granddad and ends on Rip Casey. So I'm going to close the book. It would appear that I still do not have the Seriously achievement yet, so we still have work to do. And like I said, if I still don't have that achievement at the end of all this, I'm going to be so upset, dude. I should just write a letter to, or an email to Scott Benson personally and be like, dude, please, I really want this achievement. I've put so much work into your game. Alright, well, that is the end of Night in the Woods playthrough number 1 for the Seriously achievement, Get Sweaty, Stay Sweaty, No Showering. And yeah, I'm going to end stream here. So to explain again, I'll be doing additional playthroughs of the game. I can probably start tomorrow night. And let me look at this guide page real quick. Yeah, the second playthrough, the sketches that we haven't seen already are very quick. Like, there's like less than 20 of them. Which is mostly about just hanging out with Greg and completing his story arc. In fact, I think it's pretty much the entirety of it. Oh, and also playing the bass songs badly, yeah. Play every song badly on bass, hang out with Greg throughout the entire story, and then Angus during the sequences in part 3. I think that's pretty much it for the second playthrough, so it should be a lot quicker. There's a lot less we have to do, and for that reason, we don't even have to like talk to people throughout the town in the second playthrough. We can kind of just rush through everything. Alright, so let me see who we can raid tonight. Well, Barnaby's live again. And he's playing Stardew Valley, and I actually like that game, and it's been a long time since I've played it. I haven't played Stardew Valley since like 2017 or 2018, like before they even added like multiplayer and a lot of stuff to it. I should probably get back into that game sometime, because I'm sure there's a lot that's been added since I last played it. Let me think of a... We'll raid Barnaby again tonight. Let me think of a raid message related to like Stardew Valley. I was thinking, 'cause it's so hot here and probably hot wherever Barnaby is. He was talking about the heat yesterday. We can make the raid message like Sweat Dew Valley or something like that. Does that work? Sweat Dew Valley? Like this? Sweat Dew Valley? Is that too ridiculous? Does anybody want to veto that and suggest something better? Alright, from that copy paste, I guess that's what we're going with. Alright, so raid Barnaby James. Alright, so thank you to those who have joined for the conclusion of the first playthrough, Night in the Woods. We'll be working more on the Seriously achievement very soon, and I also want to hopefully finish that game Tales of the Neon Sea. I haven't gotten back to it in the last couple weeks since I started Night in the Woods, but hopefully I can finish that game before leaving Japan, because it'll be kind of the end of a chapter in Digits BB's streaming, not even career, because I've made no money off this whatsoever, but you know, it'll be the end of Digits BB for now, and I probably won't be making an immediate comeback after leaving Japan. So we'll see what becomes of Digits BB after July. But thank you to those who have watched tonight. I'll see everybody soon for more. Join Blazer Gamer 112 this weekend for a quiz game show that Nick is putting on. That I'll be a part of as well. I'll be part of it as a moderator. Grace will be there as a contestant. So hopefully her team wins. And yeah, Sweat Dew Valley. Get sweaty, stay sweaty, no showering. Good night. What a way to end.